Hi guys, it's Thursday. As you can hear in my voice, I have had a cold. I feel like I've gone live since you guys knew I had a cold, but it's holidays. I was out, I don't know, I went to bed at 1 a.m. last night. Holiday parties, Christmas parties. We had 50 people at our house last night. Anyways, enough about that. Welcome. I'm Alexandra. I'm founder of Life with Herpes. I am here to talk to you about what it's like to live with herpes. I was diagnosed with HSV1 in 2003 and HSV2 in 2011. I am going to tap the screen to say thank you for those of you that are here with me. The reason why I am public about my herpes diagnosis, I started going public with it in 2017. It was terrifying. But it was something I felt I needed to do. I felt like I needed to share with people in order to, it's saying I liked my life. Okay. It's something that remembering what it was like in 2011 was isolating. It was embarrassing. It was suffocating. It was terrifying. It was the unknown of the future. I was in my 20s. That's also a very vulnerable, scary time in your life. You're out in the big bad world, yet you're in your 20s, yet you're still trying to figure it out. Anyways, that is why I go public about my herpes diagnosis. Oops, what happened? So if you are new to me going live, this is your opportunity to ask your questions. If you are new to just me in general, Alexandra, welcome. My name is Alexandra. I'm founder of Life with Herpes. Like I said, I've been talking about this since 2017. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I'm excited for you to be live with me. Go ahead and ask your questions. I answer them in the order in which they are received. So if you're like, you're not answering my question, I probably haven't seen it yet. Also, try and keep this PG, not even PG, rated G. The app doesn't like anything vulgar, and what ends up happening is they remove the comments for the safety of the community. So you and I know it's not vulgar. We're just trying to be here and be as educational as possible, but just do your best. Okay, so welcome. Someone is saying they feel like they have a stiff neck. They feel like you always have a stiff neck since diagnosis of HSV2 and you don't know where you get outbreaks. Okay, I don't know the answer to that question, and I'm gonna just kind of walk through it out loud. So the herpes virus, the HSV1 and 2 lives in our nerves. It lives in our nervous system and goes along our spine. HSV2 predominantly resides around the hip bones, the sit bones. It kind of lives down there, and HSV1 typically lives along the back of the neck or kind of like in this inner jaw is usually where they reside. HSV1 would, I don't even know, make sense for potentially having a stiff neck. What can happen, what I've heard happen from other people and is nerve pain. People have said like they feel the nerve pain go down their legs or in the area. Is that kind of what you're feeling, a stiffness in that area? It also could be, again, I'm not sure, but there could just be such an emotional shock that is happening when we find out we have herpes. It's so triggering to our body, or just an initial shock to our body. It might be your body's defense mechanism of potentially going stiff, like you stiff up. For example, speaking of our nervous system, that's kind of what controls us. When you see people, but if we've experienced trauma, so we'll look at a car accident. If you've ever, hopefully no one's experienced a horrible car accident, but if you have experienced one or seen someone that has experienced one, a lot of times the people get out and they're just like shaking, or if you've experienced trauma, like people shake, and it's literally the body's only way to release the trauma, right? It's getting it out of your body. So back to the stiff neck, this is just me just thinking, potentially your body is holding on to trauma, and therefore that's why the neck could be stiff. But I am not sure, and I'm sorry that you're going through that. I did have a podcast that came out a couple weeks ago. It's with Elizabeth Kristoff, and she is an expert on the nervous system. So if you go to Life with Herpes, you go to my website and go through, you'll find that podcast. It really is, it's a great one. So you can find me either on my website, or you can find the like iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen. Feel like I always have You just got diagnosed, you have a lot of questions. Do you take lysine daily? So yes, lysine is a non-negotiable for me. It's my herpes non-negotiable These are my non-negotiables. Let's just talk. And guys, my voice is all over the place. As you can hear, I have been sick. And I went out last night. And I was like over the cold, and then I went out and I had 2 glasses of wine. I normally don't drink. So I am like congested. My voice is awesome. I was on a podcast all morning. So not to mention that my body is really, really tired. So excuse my just tired voice. And again, I'm going to tap the screen for the people that are here just to say thank you and I appreciate you and thanks for being here. Okay, back to my herpes non-negotiables. So first I have lysine. Lysine is an essential amino acid. It's a protein, and it is something that people with herpes like to take. I take it. It helps block the replication of the herpes virus. The opposite thing of lysine is arginine, and it's also an essential amino acid protein, and that fuels the herpes virus. So this helps block the arginine in our body, with the HSV virus. This is a non-negotiable for me. As far as companies to use, Natural Cure Labs, aka also Palmera Health. This is the best company out there. I have lots of people approach me. I have lots of people ask me to use their lysine supplements. I have that all the time. This is the only company that I personally trust. I've done my research. I've talked to other people, and this is the only one that I trust, but also other people in my community, the same thing. This is the only thing that they trust. Also, you do get a discount on it. It is linked for you, and it is the best discount out there that you can find. So you definitely get the best discount from me. All right, so that's up there. Then the next thing is monolaurin. This is what is found in human breast milk that helps our little babies stay healthy and they build an immune system when they're brand new. This also is something that we can consume through coconuts. We're not having mama's milk here. This is from coconuts. But anyways, what it does is it helps break down the outer shell of an enveloped virus. Enveloped virus is an HSV virus or other viruses in that matter, but specifically we are talking about herpes, and it helps break down that outer shell, that outer layer. So this is something I take. It also is very beneficial for other immune system as support in our bodies. So other bacterial, biofilms, things like that. So it just is an overall umbrella for immune system support. And then specifically, it does help with herpes. And then lastly, angiographisce is again another non-negotiable for me. It's very potent in overall immune system support and specifically with the HSV virus. Like I said, this is all linked for you. You can check it out, and you do get an amazing discount. It's already plugged in for you, but you get the best discount out there with the link that I have for you. All right. Also, back to the people that were just recently diagnosed. I feel for you. I understand what you're going through. I am going to give you some love. I'm going to give you some hearts. It is a very isolating and scary time. What am I doing next? Somebody asked me a great question last week. What would you do if your husband was just diagnosed with herpes? What would you tell him? So I'm going to tell you the same thing I would tell him. Number one, if you want to take the antivirals, I would say get them in your system as soon as possible. Not everybody wants to take antivirals, but if you want to take them, get them in your system as soon as possible. It is going to help speed up the recovery. Number two, I would get these supplements that we have talked about. I would get these supplements ASAP. They do not need a prescription. They are over the counter. They are supplements. If you have questions, of course, ask your doctor. Then next, I would take an Epsom salt bath. I would soak in the bath. This is the one that I would have my husband soak in. It's the recovery soak. This is what we specifically created for people living with herpes. There's some great ingredients in there to help you calm down. Epsom salts naturally help calm your nervous system. They add magnesium to your body. And there's some great ingredients in here like oregano oil, geranium oil, some other great things. This is what I would have him do ASAP. Now, also if you're brand new, I do have an ebook. It's a 21-page ebook. You can download it. Like I said, it's free. It talks about outbreak remedies, what to do if you are just diagnosed with herpes. So it's all linked for you. Like I said, it's brand new and not brand new. If you are brand new to herpes, that's what I would do. I would download that and it's linked for you. Have you found a partner? And who infected me? Okay. Let's go back. So I was 28 years old and I was dating someone and he did not know that he had it. So he didn't know he had herpes, and that is where I got herpes from an ex-boyfriend in my late 20s. Have I found a partner, and if so, where? That's a great question on where, because I feel like dating can be very challenging. Yes, I am married, but prior to being married, I dated a lot of men. And I didn't always disclose I had herpes because I had no intention of sleeping with them. I had no intention of taking it to the next level. Dating doesn't mean sleeping together. Dating means I'm going to meet you for coffee. Dating means I'm going to go for a walk. Dating means I'm going to meet you for froyo. Dating means I'm going to go to dinner. I'm going to go to breakfast, whatever. So you would know within the first couple of dates if this is someone you want to be intimate with and take it to the next level. And I was either, nope, you're not the one, or I would wait until I was ready to be at that level of being intimate. I even went on vacation with one guy. I'm like, yeah, one guy, we even went on vacation. Didn't disclose because I had no intention of sleeping with him on vacation. Like I wasn't there yet in the relationship. I was still dating. Do I like you? Let's see. Let's have fun. Okay. So, how did I meet my husband? I met him through work. So yeah, I met my husband through work. My partner gets cold sores. Can we not kiss during a breakout? Yes. So if wherever you have herpes, whether it's oral, whether it's genital, whenever that is in effect, whenever that is full-fledged outbreak, cold sore, blister, lesion, whatever you want to call it, you are contagious. In fact, you are the most contagious because you have that viral DNA out there. It's liquidy, it's slurpy, it's sticky, it's all sorts of things. And that is when you are most contagious. So do not touch your partner with that infected area. Meaning, we'll use oral herpes for example. If you have oral herpes and you have an oral outbreak, do not touch your partner with your mouth, or anybody for that matter with your mouth. The area in which you have a cold sore is contagious. Does that mean you can touch somebody with your hands? Yes. Does that mean you could hug somebody? Yes. Does that mean that you can do other things with other body parts? Yes. But the body part that is infected, do not go near that area when you have an outbreak. Guys, I'm going to tap the screen. I see some follows coming through and I see some shares. So I want to thank you for the follows. I want to thank you for the shares. That is a compliment to me. So I appreciate that. This is why I'm here. I'm here to share the information. So if you know somebody that has herpes, this could be a sibling, this could be a spouse, this could be an ex, this could be a child, this could be somebody, a colleague. If you know someone that has herpes and you know someone that needs to hear this information, please forward it with them so that we can help support them get through their diagnosis. What I do not want to happen is for you to feel isolated. What I do not want to happen is for you to be Eeyore. I was Eeyore for 2 years. Eeyore has the rain cloud over him. He walks around depressed and he ho-hums along. I Eeyored for 2 years. Now, the Eeyore phase is natural. You are going to have Eeyore days, but I do not want you to get stuck in Eeyore. I don't want you to miss out on falling in love. I don't want you to miss out on your first kiss. I don't want you to miss out on the joys and wonders of life, especially finding that person that you love, getting married, and having children. There's nothing more beautiful than that, in my opinion. And just because you have herpes does not mean that you have to miss out on that. Okay, so we feel that we have to miss out on that, or we feel that we have to self-sabotage, or we feel that we're unlovable, and that is a belief that you believe. The stigma helps it. The stigma helps you believe. It adds proof to your belief, but it's a belief you do not have to believe, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I am doing my best to speak publicly. I also have some other work that I'm doing on working on limiting beliefs. This is what we talked about at our live retreat last September. I had people come to my home in Las Vegas. It was very intimate. And we learned about limiting beliefs, and we learned about why they get stuck and why they're root beliefs and how they hold us back. So it's our limiting beliefs that hold us back with our herpes diagnosis from finding that person. When is the best time to test yourself? 3 months after last appearance. So there's a couple tests. I haven't talked about all the herpes tests in consecutive order. So let's talk about that. So we have a couple ways to test. One is I can't think of the word right now because I went to bed at 1 a.m. Clinical diagnosis. There we go. Clinical diagnosis, which means a doctor needs to diagnose you. A doctor looks at your symptoms, looks at the outbreak and listens to your symptoms. So a doctor can clinically diagnose you. You have to have an outbreak at that point to be clinically diagnosed. The downside to clinically being diagnosed is that you don't know what type you have. You only know the location. Number 2, you can have a blood draw. So you can be tested with your antibodies. It's called an IgG or IgM. I prefer the IgG test because the antibodies, if you have HSV antibodies, then you have herpes, okay? So that is going to be a very accurate test. You need to have the antibodies. The downside of that is if, let's say you were just infected this last weekend, let's say like your old fling is home for Christmas or whatever, and you were disinfected this last weekend, most likely, even if you have lesions, even if you have an outbreak, you're going to test negative because your body has not had the opportunity to make the antibodies. The third way to test positive for herpes is to do a swab. So when you have an active lesion, an active outbreak, an active blister, a doctor or healthcare provider would swab that viral DNA and send it off to a lab, and they would be able to tell if that is the HSV virus. You're going to be able to tell what type you have. You have type 1 or type 2, and you're also going to know the location. The downside of that is if you do it too early or too late, you're not going to have the viral DNA. So I'll use myself as an example. I have HSV1 oral. I do not have a cold sore right now. So you could swab my mouth and I'm going to test negative. At least I think, unless the virus is shedding, but let's just go with I would test negative. You had a cold sore a month or two, and ever since you've been getting them back to back. Your body is probably trying to fight them. I go through those seasons as well. Usually it's an opportunity for me to look at what's happening in my life, what is stressing myself out, what is going on. I also have thyroid issues, so a lot of times it's when my thyroid's acting up. I would look at your overall immune system. Are you taking care of yourself? Do you need some extra immune system support like angiographics, like monolaurin? Are there some other things going on that can help? Number one, we just want to calm the nerves and calm the nervous system. How do you protect your parents from getting HSV while trying, your partner? I didn't do anything special. My husband and I do not use any sort of protection. We're at the point of my husband is okay if he is to get it, and he doesn't live his life in fear of it. Now, we're at this point in our relationship. Were we always at that point? No, when we were dating, I was on the antiviral. So I took the antiviral, and that was the best way to prevent transmission to my husband. At this point, at this point in the relationship, it's not a concern to him. So I take supplements daily. My husband has a really strong immune system, and we avoid contact when I have any sort of symptoms or if I have an outbreak. You want to have lip filler, is that okay? I'm not sure. I've never had lip filler. However, I do know that when I've gone to the dermatologist, they've asked me that before. And I've gone to or if I've gotten Botox, they've asked me that before, and they say, just FYI, if you have herpes and you ever want to get lip filler in the future, let us know so we can prescribe the antiviral so you don't get an outbreak. I would ask the doctor and see what he or she recommends. Do you still test positive after the supplements? The supplements have no impact on you testing positive or negative. Like if you're positive, you're going to test positive no matter how many supplements you take. Does lysine make you gain weight? It shouldn't. It's just a protein. You get it from normal foods that you consume. It's very important for our tendon repair. It's very important for metabolizing other minerals in our body. So it's not like when we hear protein, it's not like a chicken protein. It's a protein. I don't know. It's a protein. Are there any side effects to those supplements? I would ask your doctor. To be honest, I don't know. What I do know is that I did check with my doctor, and they are recommended to me by my doctor as well. These are natural. Lysine is something that is found in the foods that we consume. And so I'm just taking extra of it. Monolaurin is in foods that we consume. It's in a lot of organic foods as a preservative. It's in a lot of our cosmetics as a preservative. So it's already being consumed by us. And then they're all natural products. So I would say that if you have questions, you should ask your doctor. Guys, thanks for the follows. Thanks for the shares. No, you cannot kiss with a cold sore when you have symptoms. You can spread it with saliva. Yeah, so, and just to be clear, herpes does not live in saliva. It's not a fluid-based transmission, but your saliva can be a vehicle in which it transmits it. So your saliva can pick up the viral DNA by touching an area on your mouth where you have a cold sore and then transmit it that way. Oops. How did you tell your husband and when? So I told my husband before he was my husband. Well, obviously that. I told my husband before we were ever together. I told my husband the same day I was diagnosed. He was a colleague and I came into the office and I was devastated. And so he asked me what has happened. And so I told him. But I would recommend, from dating and other situations, I would recommend disclosing whenever you're ready to be intimate. And that can be one day, that can be 3 hours, that can be 3 months. So wait until you're ready to be intimate and see how it goes. Is it possible to prevent outbreaks before it happens? It is. There are some ways to do that. The CDC for the antiviral, it is proven. There are some tests that show you can take the antiviral if you get it within your system within the first couple of hours of symptoms. A lot of times you can negate getting it. You can either really limit the time you have it or even nip it in the bud altogether. So that is a great way. Also, taking the supplements that I talked about, specifically lysine, is going to be really helpful in speeding up recovery. I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we know where you got your sweater from? This is awesome. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. My outfit, I have my little corduroy pants. It's from Banana Republic. So look, the underside is like literally a sweater and this is painted. Thank you. Banana Republic, guys. Okay. Thanks, Brooke. If I get pregnant, what can I do for outbreaks? You're in Puerto Rico. Well, that's going to be really exciting if you're going to get pregnant. Congratulations on that. What I did, I didn't take anything. I didn't take any supplements that were herpes related. I didn't take the antiviral. What I did is I took tea tree oil, Manuka. What I did is I took tea tree oil and I dabbed it with a little coconut oil just to dilute it. And I would dab it directly on the outbreak. That was the thing that was the safest, that I personally felt comfortable with, being safe, being pregnant. You're welcome. You're welcome. Guys, I see the follows. I see the shares. I see all the hearts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If your partner has it, you've been together, how would you know when to test? Okay. So most people are asymptomatic. So I would just get tested. If you've been with just have your partner get tested. You never know when the antibodies are going to show up, not show up. If your partner has it, just get tested and get a baseline to see where you're at. Was your first outbreak the worst? They both were. Yeah, my oral outbreak was horrible and my genital outbreak was horrible. It really was. They were awful. They lasted for a number of weeks and they were awful. My sweater is from Banana Republic. Thank you for asking. Do you guys want me to start doing like little fashion outfits? Because I feel like you guys ask me a lot about my outfits and I would enjoy it if you guys want to hear about my outfits. I'll post them on Instagram if that's something you're into. Getting rejected is the worst. Yes, it is. It doesn't feel good. It hurts our ego. It's something that happens to all of us. I've been rejected with or without herpes. And it's just, it is inevitable in life to have a rejection at certain points in your life. It does not need to be inevitable to have rejection with herpes. Thank you, Ryan, for all the flowers. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The rejection, according to what I have learned from talking to thousands of people, are 3 reasons why herpes rejection happens. Number 1, the person is emotionally immature to handle the conversation about herpes or even handle the conversation about a relationship. Number 2, the person is deeply rooted in his or her belief that is not going to change. This person is not going to change their mindset about herpes. So I like to use the example of religion. You have someone who is a Catholic, they're not going to agree with the Jewish faith. Someone of the Jewish faith is not going to agree with the Catholic faith. It's never going to meet in the middle. There's one big difference. So I use that with herpes. There might be a deep-rooted belief that you're like, I believe this about somebody that has an STD and it's not going to change and I don't want to change that. And third and foremost, which is the hardest one, is the person's not into you. And that's the one that hurts because we think and we believe that if we didn't have herpes, we'd already be off into the sunset. I just have 2 people in my community right now that were just rejected after they were dating, everything was fine. And then these 2 young women, different situations, disclosed to their partners. And they're like, yeah, no, I don't see us working out in life. And it's because the person deep down was not either had the deep-rooted belief or wasn't into you. And what I look at it as, the rejection hurts, it's painful, it's miserable, it's not a comfortable space to be in, but it allows us, rejection is redirection. We get to redirect to where we want to go, and it's gonna redirect us to the person that we're supposed to be with. Whether we're supposed to work on ourselves temporarily or we're supposed to go out and meet that person. It's prepping us and molding us and polishing us to be able to go out to that next relationship. Whoa. Does lysine work? Yeah, lysine is great. It's definitely not as potent as, say, the antiviral, but it does a great job and it's natural. If the person said you just got diagnosed, you're in so much pain, will it ever be normal again? Yes, it'll be normal again. I promise it will go back to being normal. Can you talk about HSV and pregnancy, please? Yeah. So as far as getting pregnant, herpes doesn't play like a role in pregnancy. I mean, obviously if you have an outbreak, don't like practice that day to get pregnant, of course, but it doesn't impact any sort of fertility or anything like that. The only concern is during delivery. So while the baby is in utero, HSV does not go through the umbilical cord. It doesn't impact the baby in utero. The baby is protected. Remember, HSV is a skin disease. It's a skin-to-skin transmission. The baby cannot touch our skin when the baby's in utero. It's when the birth happens is when we're most concerned about our transfer. So when we have that skin-to-skin during the vaginal canal, that's when people are concerned. There's some ways around it. You can take the antiviral, and if you do not have an outbreak, then most likely your doctor will allow you to have a vaginal delivery. I myself had a vaginal delivery. And some other mothers feel like, hey, I just don't want to take that risk. I feel more comfortable with a cesarean or a C-section. It's going to be up to you. Here's the thing. It's up to you, and it's up to you and your doctor to decide what is best for you. You can talk to your doctor, get a game plan, and decide what you guys want to do. If you're like, I just don't want to take the risk, I don't feel comfortable, then schedule a C-section. If you're like, I feel like I can do this, talk to your doctor and get on the same page and see what he or she recommends. Can you prevent... You had a weird white bump on your lip. People said it was herpes. Doctor aggravated the bump until it bled. Well, if the doctor aggravated it, then the doctor probably got a swab to get the viral DNA, and then you'll know if you have that. You're having an error downloading the ebook. Okay, I'll have to go in and see what's going on and why we're having an error downloading the ebook. Thank you for letting me know, and that is something that needs to be fixed. Thoughts on home red light therapy. Okay, interesting. I have just recently, I might say in the last couple weeks, been doing infrared sauna, and I don't know, but I know that red light therapy is really, really beneficial for cellular repair. I do have a zapper, a infrared zapper that I have been using. I was just recently had a cold sore, and I used it on my cold sore. And it did help speed up recovery, and I believe it helped with scarring, and it helped with skin regeneration. So I'm all about red light therapy. Absolutely. Yes. Lysine is very, very helpful. If you take the antiviral, does it prevent your partner from getting it? It is the best way to prevent transmission. It is not 100% preventative transmission. You still have a 48% chance. It lowers the transmission rate by 48%, but it is the best way to help. Does cold weather cause outbreaks? So for a lot of people that have oral herpes, they say that in a change of weather, it can cause outbreaks. They say the harsh conditions. So whether it's going into harsh winter where the cold, it's like that nip, that nip that gets your mouth. Or if you go into summer or beautiful weather when you're outside and the sun can penetrate it, they say a lot of times those shifts trigger outbreaks for people. My first outbreak for both of them lasted about a good 2 weeks, close to 3. Do you know exactly who I contracted herpes from? I do. I know who I got it orally. I know who I got it genitally. I do not take antivirals. So those, yeah, I don't take antivirals. I did take them consistently for 3 years when I was dating. So that was something I took at that point in my life. At this point, and then I was just taking them when I had outbreaks. Now I no longer take them. I just am at a point where I don't want to take any extra medication that I don't need. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I think I got through all the questions. Again, I'm just going to thank you. I'm going to tap the screen. I saw the follows. I saw the shares. I appreciate you for joining me. Everything I talked about as far as the supplements are all linked. The ebook is linked. I'm going to figure out why it's not downloading for you. And the products that we talked about, these are specifically formulated for people living with herpes. It is my company. It's called Secret Society Wellness. And there are natural ingredients. They're made in the USA. And they're great. Like, you guys, this sells out every month. It is the rescue balm. You apply it directly to your genital outbreak. I love the way it smells. I love it. Anyways, so many products here. We have a new product that is just out. I think it actually may be sold out at the moment, but it is the Herpes Fix-It salve. It is a salve made with Manuka honey, and it is out of this world. So you have to go check it out. All right, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you all soon. Bye.